how easy is it to install that, or does it have to be installed by a professional?
You can do it with basic tools. Most people can do it right in their own garage or driveway with just a screwdriver and a wrench. They usually, just like this one right here, you see, has the holes right here and everything that bolts in place in the stock air box. So once you take the filter out of the stock air box and then bolt the stock air box, this will bolt right in place in the stock one. And then attached to the stock tube. Some have aftermarket tubes that come with them that hook up to the throttle body. But they're really easy to do. Most anyone can do it just with the basic tools, screwdriver and wrench. It takes probably anywhere from a half hour to an hour to do most of them.
You can get improvements even if you didn't do the tuner or the exhaust, right? Just not as great of improvement.
Right. You get your biggest improvement when you do all three. Right. Doing the air intake, the tuner, and the exhaust. What's nice about air intakes, especially when you're at altitude, the air is thinner. So usually once you get above 4,000 feet elevation, it robs the vehicle of horsepower. And it could rob the vehicle as much as 25% efficiency and rob 25% of that horsepower, stock horsepower. This will get some of that horsepower gain back because you're pulling in denser air at an altitude that the air is thinner. And denser air is a lot more efficient than thin air. Get a lot more gain from it.
How about the brand? Is there a difference in the brands?
There are a lot of different brands.
No, in terms of performance-wise.
Performance-wise, it's pretty close. They're pretty much the same. You know, when you look at K&N's dyno results compared to Air Raid or AEM or Volant, they're relatively close. Now, some will boast and say that they have more power than others, but look at anyone manufacturer that has dyno sheets like these that you can pull online. Those are believable numbers because they're actual dyno results from the vehicle. So you can see other manufacturers that just post horsepower and torque. If it's not from a dyno sheet, then it's usually not a believable number. So Super Chips does dyno sheets on their programmers. Air does dyno sheets on their air intakes. Can-Am, I believe, does dyno sheets. And that's what you want to look at is hard numbers like that are believable. And anybody can say, yeah, I get 20 horsepower or 50 horsepower. If you don't have anything backing up like that, it's not believable. So that's an example you can look for online when you're looking at shopping air filters. And ask questions to the salesman. They can provide you that kind of information too if you don't have that kind of information and need it. They can answer your questions there too.
Can you talk a little bit about the throttle body spacer?
The throttle body spacer, I wish I had something to show you, but I don't. A throttle body spacer is usually it's just a hunk of metal, usually about that thick, that goes between the air intake and the throttle body. The throttle body, and it's usually it has grooves in the center of the throttle body. What that does is vortex and spin the air into the intake manifold. When it does that through the front of it, it actually increases the air volume coming in as it comes in from the intake to the throttle body into the intake manifold. So each cylinder can get an equal amount of air going through the top of the intake manifold. And the reason for that is like this picture I showed you earlier on the LS1 engine. Go back here and show you real quick. This is where the throttle body would go, right in the front where the throttle body is. That piece,
That's the throttle body.
this is the throttle body, and the spacer would go right between that and the intake. What happens is the cylinders back here aren't taking advantage of as much air as they are up here because the air's coming right through the front of it. So these cylinders are actually getting more air than the back cylinders. The purpose of the throttle body is to vortex that air, and it makes the air more turbulent to the top of the intake manifold, so all the cylinders are getting a more equal amount of air. So that helps improve horsepower and efficiency too.
Do they provide the dyno sheets, like with just the air intakes and then an air intake with a throttle body spacer? Do you know?
Air doesn't provide, I don't know if I haven't looked at the other manufacturer, but Air doesn't provide a dyno sheet for just the throttle body spacer. They only do it on the air intakes. It's really, you're not getting, it's more for efficiency. You're not going to really get much horsepower from the throttle body spacer. It's just more for efficiency. You're going to get better mileage from it because it helps improve the airflow through the top of the intake manifold. I guess that will conclude our second TU How2. Thanks very much and look forward to our next meeting.